yonder dressed in red, fade in the water. Must be the children that Moses led. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Yonder dressed in white, fade in the water. Must be the children of the Israelite. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. That yonder must be the children that's coming through. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. You don't believe I've been redeemed? Wade in the water. You see the Holy Ghost is coming for me. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
The quote is a Maya Angelou quote. It's one we're familiar with and also that I need to be reminded about. And it says this: I did what I knew how to do then. Now that I know better, I do better. Yeah. I did what I knew how to do then. Now I know better, so I do better. Practice, that's what practice is called, right? Is practicing that. Well, I've mentioned before here that the messages that I come up with every Sunday kind of start with me on Monday, and as I sit in my chair, I will look at something or read something or make a few notes in my journal, and I do that on Tuesday and on Wednesday, and nothing was quite landing. I was starting to write about things, but it wasn't really, it felt kind of stuck. It felt kind of stuck, and I thought, well, I'm just going to keep going with this, maybe. And Wednesday morning, I was at the Y, sitting on the stationary bike, doing my fat burner program on there. And I had this, I like the name of that program the best, because it makes me think that's what I'm really doing. Like, oh, it says fat burner, it must be. Anyway, I was sitting there riding my bike, and this clarity came to me about what the topic would be. I'm like, oh, that's what it's going to be. Oh, okay. And it started to feel like it wasn't stuck. It started to feel like it was the thing to do. The thing to do. Is that me, Anna? I don't know what that is. So when I sat to start writing on Thursday morning, it felt right still. It felt right still. So I was feeling really, probably because I'm stepping on this, because I was really confident about that. And I'll mention though that riding the bike at the Y in the cardio room, I'm probably the only person in there that doesn't have earbuds in or isn't on their phone reading a book or whatever they're doing, holding on as they walk so they don't lose their balance. I'm like, what? In other words, to leave space. To leave space. And I think that's the first thing I want to mention to you is the reminder to, if these things are going to come to me, to leave space for them to come. To leave space for them to come. To trust that that's what's going to happen. And yes, it happened to happen on the bike at the Y. It could happen in the shower. It could happen anywhere. To be present to whatever moment it is. So that's the first thing. And I know today is Bring a Friend Sunday. And so I'll start off with this caveat. Sometimes, but rarely does my message come out of Bible verses. And today is the day it does. Oh, lucky you. Lucky you. Or maybe not lucky you. Because you're like, but listen, here's the thing about the Bible. And when I talk about this book, I say, listen, it's a book. It's a book. I know some people have been damaged by what people have taught from this book, but it's a book, okay? And I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of this book. I'm not. In fact, I think there are things in here that challenge me to be a better human. And so I don't want to throw the book away either, because there's some stuff in here and specifically that Jesus taught that really challenged me to be a better human being, to be a spiritual being, actually. So that's why I think it's important. That's why I'm not willing to throw it away. His whole message, in fact, in my interpretation, anybody who says they don't interpret the Bible is lying to you. We interpret everything we read. Every book we read, we interpret, including this book. Okay? It's just the way it is. We're human. We read something and we interpret it through our lens. Okay? So everybody interprets the Bible. I'm going to interpret it today. Okay? You can interpret it the way you want. It doesn't matter. But what I think Jesus was saying in his ministry, which is just this small little part where all the things are in the back, right? Was saying, listen, I'm here to wake you up. I want to tell you how life really works. I'm here to say, you got to listen to your heart, because all this stuff that's happening out here is irrelevant to what I want you to understand. And I think that's a powerful teaching. I think it's a very powerful teaching. And so I want to read from Matthew when he says this about his being on earth. Don't suppose for a minute, and I use the Message Bible, by the way, is the name of the Bible I use. Don't suppose for a minute that I have come to demolish the scriptures, either God's law or the prophet. I'm not here to demolish, but to complete it. I'm going to put it all together for you in this vast panorama. and to let you know that God's law is more real and lasting than the stars in the sky and the ground at your feet. Long after the stars burn out and the earth wears out, God's law will be alive and working. I mean, what does that mean? I mean, to me, it is this universal, eternal life that is. Long before this incarnation, or even his incarnation, and will last long afterwards. He's like, listen, that's what I want to tell you about. I want to tell you about this thing that is bigger than anything you've ever imagined. I want to tell you about that. All right? I want to tell you about that. I want to give you the big picture, not the man-made law, but the spiritual, the eternal thing. The eternal thing. That's pretty exciting to me, to want to know the big thing. So here's how he goes on. Here's how he goes on. He says this, you're familiar with the command to the ancients, do not murder. I'm telling you that anyone who is so much as angry with a brother or sister is guilty of murder. Carelessly call a brother idiot, and you just find yourself hauled into court. Thoughtlessly yell stupid at a sister, and you are on the brink of hellfire. The simple moral fact is that words kill. Well then. Now this doesn't make any sense in the outer, because I can use whatever word I want, and Arrow is still going to be alive. Ah, there he is. Because we say, well, that's not how it happens. In the physical world, no. But what I believe is happening is Jesus saying, look in your heart. This is where I'm talking about. I'm talking about this in the spiritual essence of things. I'm talking about that words are vibrations. Words are vibrations. And they vibrate in the universe. And they order consciousness, like they have an impact. Words have an impact. Right? You agree? I mean, words have an impact. And we can either use our words in the direction of love and understanding, or we can use our words in the direction of judgment and resentment and fear and anger. Right? I mean, I think that's what happens. And what his message is, I believe, is that our words influence the fabric of the universe. Not just what's right around me, but the fabric of the universe. Wow. So I want to give you a couple examples that are on my mind. The first one is the murder of Charlie Kirk. Before I knew that he was murdered, I went on Facebook, which I don't go a lot onto, and I saw a post from somebody who I know who had his quote on there about being okay with the Second Amendment rights, even if it cost a few people their lives. And the message that the person wrote at the top of that was, how's it feel now, Charlie? Words. Words. So this happened, and those are my words? Those are my words? Really, what is the energy of those words? What is the vibration of those words somebody put at the top of a post of one of his quotes? What is the energy of that? And what am I contributing to the fabric of the universe when I put those words out? I submit to you it's not love. I submit to you that it is tearing at the fabric of our consciousness in the direction that we don't want to go. Our words. And listen, this message today is for me. And this message is for you. This is not a message about someone you know who uses words in a certain way. No. This message is for you if you're here. This message is for me and my words, all right? It's too easy to say, yeah, my cousin needs to listen to that message. No. You and I'm inviting us to look at this message. You and I who are sitting here together now. Not anybody else. Not anybody else. But my words about this horrific, just senseless, crazy event, and that's going to be my words about it? It hit me right here. It hit me hard. It hit me hard to hear that from somebody I know. From somebody I know. Because those words are vibrations. It was despicable. Jesus saying, our words kill. Those kinds of words kill. It's not a good enough excuse to say, well, Charlie this or Charlie... No, my words for me. Your words for you. That's the ones I'm asking us to think about. For us. What energy am I putting into the fabric of the universe? That's it. There's another example. There was a man who went to a Phillies game, who scrambled after a ball that was hit, a home run ball, and he comes up with it, and he gives it to his son, and a woman comes over and starts yammering at him. People film it. People film everything now. People film that. And he ended up turning the ball over to her, took it out of his son's hand and gave it back to her. The comments online were ridiculous. The comments online about people losing their jobs and this woman this and this woman that. Here's what the dad said when he was finally interviewed. You know what he said? Every moment around my kid is a teaching moment, and this is what I want him to know. Right? What about the rest of us? What words am I ascribing to that? What do I wish for that person? What words am I putting there? What happened? What happened to our loving kindness? What happened to loving each other back into wholeness together? What about that? What about that? I know we all have opinions, but what about this teaching that says the moral truth is that words kill? See, Jesus didn't teach stuff that was easy, right? That's why they put him on a cross. You know, this stuff wasn't easy stuff to teach. What do you mean? Yes, my words impact the fabric of the universe. That's the truth. That's what I believe. You know, why aren't we? Why aren't we waking up our heart? That's what Jesus was asking us to do. Like, wake up my heart. Wake up my heart. Here's a story from Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, that I've shared with you before, but it's poignant and applicable right here. There was a woman who was intelligent and had a very good heart. She had a daughter who she adored and loved very much. One night she came home from a very bad day at work, tired, full of emotional tension, and with a terrible headache. She wanted peace and quiet, but her daughter was singing and jumping happily. The daughter was unaware of how her mother was feeling. She was in her own world, in her own dream. And she felt wonderful, and she was jumping and singing louder and louder and expressing her joy and her love. And she was singing so loud that it made her mother's headache worse. And in a certain moment, her mother lost control. And angrily, she looked at her beautiful little girl and said, "Shut up. You have an ugly voice. Can you just shut up?" The truth is that mother's tolerance for any noise was non-existent. It was not that the little girl's voice was ugly, but the daughter believed what her mother said, and in that moment, she made an agreement with herself. And after that, she no longer sang, because she believed that her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. She became shy at school, and if she was asked to sing, she refused. Everything changed in the little girl because of this new agreement. She believed she must repress her emotions in order to be accepted and loved. The moral, what does it say again? The simple moral fact is that words kill. Those kinds of words. Any word not aligned with love. Any word not aligned with understanding. Any word not aligned with that. It's a tough one. Like I said, this book challenges me. This challenges me. Here's another one. You know the next commandment pretty well too. Jesus said, "Don't go to bed with another spouse. But don't think you've preserved your virtues simply by staying out of bed. Your heart can be corrupted by lust even quicker than your body. Those ogling looks you think nobody notices, they are also corrupt. And then he says, let's not pretend this is easier than it really is. If you want to live a morally pure life, here's what you have to do. You have to blind your right eye the moment you catch it in a lustful leer. And you have to chop off your right hand the moment you noticed it raised as a threat to someone else. I don't believe Jesus is advocating chopping off our limbs or making our eye blind. What I do think he was trying to do here is for us to recognize the seriousness of what we hold on to. The seriousness of what we need to get rid of and out of us in order to be the loving, spiritual essence of God that we are. That's what I think is happening here. He says he wants to draw our attention to that, like, whoa, really? Cut my hand off? Really? Blind my eye? Yes, this is that serious. You know what he's serious about? Getting rid of resentment, getting rid of unforgiveness, getting rid of judgment, getting rid of anger, getting rid of hatred. All those things, like the seriousness of getting rid of that stuff. Oh my gosh, that's a life work, isn't it? That's a life work. It's not easy stuff. But if I want to live that life, that's the calling. To live with an awakened heart is to get rid of that stuff. To move it out of my being, to move it out of my consciousness, and thereby impact the fabric of the universe. Because it's no longer there. The hatred's no longer there. The resentment. The need to be right all the time about everything. No one can relate to that, can they? The need to be in charge. The need to be... Like the seriousness of it is the seriousness of chopping off the hand or blinding the eye. That's what I believe Jesus is trying to tell us in that message. Not to maim yourself, but to awaken your heart. To awaken your heart. He goes on and on. I won't give too many more, but here's another old saying that deserves a second look. He says, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Is that going to get us anywhere? Here's what I propose. Don't hit back at all. If someone strikes you, stand there and take it. If someone drags you into court and sues you for the shirt off your back, gift wrap your best coat and make a present of it. And if someone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more tit for tat stuff. Live generously. Well, that's not easy, is it? Again, you know what? He's using physical examples, but I believe he's really telling us how to live a spiritual life. Here's what I get from this, is let the person who irritates you the most be your best teacher. Let the person who drives you crazy teach you something that you could not learn otherwise. Let those people, all of those people, let them spark something. Let them awaken your heart to something that you couldn't know. Let them do that. I've said before from this place, don't let their hatred make you be a hater. Like, let them be the teacher. Let them be the teacher, the one that teaches you how to love better, how to live with an awakened heart. Let them be that. That's what to do with my enemies. Let them be my greatest teachers. Like, oh, okay. All right. You know, I don't have to stand there and be beat to death. All right. It can feel that way, though, can it? It can feel as if I'm being attacked. But what if I pause and decide to let this be the highest teacher that I have ever known? It's not easy. It's the spiritual approach is what I believe. That's the inside work. That's the inside work. To become the greatest vibration of love. To be the servant. He says that, right? He says to live generously. To practice the servant life. You know what I think the servant life is? The servant life is a life lived in service to the whole. A life lived in service to all. Not just for me and mine, but to all. Like the question, does this serve the whole? Does it serve the whole? Does this choice, does this idea, does this thought, does it serve the whole? Does it lift the whole, or does it crash the whole down? Does it lift everybody up, or does it divide everybody? What does it do? That's the servant life, just in service to the whole, in service to the whole. Awaken your heart. He's saying, awaken your heart. That's what it's about. I don't know if I have another one. But see, none of this stuff makes any sense in the physical world, does it? They're physical examples to call our attention to an awakened heart. That's my interpretation, okay? That's an interpretation. Others may interpret it differently. But I think that's what calls me to be a better human, to be a better part of the vibration of love in the universe. Like when I'm on my deathbed, and if I have any consciousness, I hope I'm recalling that I did at least my best for that. Not perfection, but my best for that. That's what I hope. My prayer is to have an awakened heart, to awaken my heart in me. Awaken my heart in me. There's a quote by Stephen Mitchell that says, when we change the way we see the world, we change the world. When we change the way we arrive in the world, when we change the way we are in the world, we change the world. You can believe that or not. I believe that. I believe that the way we show up. Here's another one. The world changes not by force, but by the calm strength of awakened hearts. And I would revise this to say, the world evolves toward love, not by force, but by the calm strength of awakened hearts. That's how it works. Not by our anger, not by our judgment, not by our revenge, not by our opinions, not by our biases, but by our awakened heart. When we were talking around this topic in coffee and conversation yesterday, and one of the folks who was there said, but when I do this, when I show up this way, I don't see any evidence that it's working in the world. Like, I don't see the evidence, because we're looking out here and we look at the world and we think, holy crap, it's a mess, right? And we look at it that way. And I remembered this quote from Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman is the woman who led people who were previously enslaved out of the South into the North, into their freedom. And one of the things that she said in the book I read about her was, she said, I walk by faith and not by sight. I walk by faith and not by sight. I walk in what I believe, no matter what it looks like out here, through the swamps, through the snake and mosquito infested swamps of the South. I walk by faith and not by sight. Can we do that? Can we do that? Could we believe? Could we believe? Not proof, not by proof, but by faith. And could we remember the lesson that Jesus was trying to teach us about our words and how we carried ourselves and how we look at our enemies and what our thoughts are, and to realize it all impacts the universe. Yeah. So let's take that into meditation just for a short while this morning. I invite you to take a deep breath and be comfortable and close your eyes. It's a strong word to say murder, but my words are powerful. They carry more than just the sound of the word. They carry the vibration that I put behind it. The feeling nature of it. Let me always remember to check my words and to check the emotion and the energy that I carry with those words. Let me realize that the one that I look at as the enemy is my greatest teacher. My greatest teacher. I don't have to go to lunch with them. I don't have to be in their presence. I can receive the teaching that they are offering. That is possible. So let's sit for a few moments, breathing in and breathing out. Take another deep breath in. Peace begins within. When I let go of anger, I end the battle inside. When I let go of ego, I open the door to wisdom. When I let go of hate, I create a space for love. Today, I choose compassion over conflict, silence over chaos, and kindness over judgment. The world changes not by force, but by the calm strength of awakened hearts. And so it is. Amen. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy.